Hello everyone, Amod here from Retarget Common YouTube channel, and I am here with another topic in this episode series. So today we are going to learn about POJO. Okay, what is POJO, how do we create it, and why we need that. Okay, so first let us start with very basic of POJO, what is POJO and all. So I will not directly jump to the definition of POJO because that is the wrong way of teaching. I will go with why we need something. Okay, so we know the data structure, right? Data structure means how we store the data. Okay, and generally when the if we are storing the data in a better way, obviously the retrieval should be proper. Okay, like if you see, we have list, we have some set, we have map where we can store the value as a key value pair, right? So when you store something with the key value pair, so at least we know that how can we retrieve the value. Okay, similarly we have different date collections in Java, right? So all these things allows us to store the data in a specific way so that we can easily retrieve it, we can modify it. Okay, so that is the major concept behind data structure, how you manage the data or how you structure the data, that is called data structure, right? So here, suppose you are a boss of a company and there are many employees working under you, right? So obviously you need to keep the information about your employees, right? Means their name, their age, their salary, their addresses, like that, right? So generally if you see, we can call that every employee will have some properties, right? Properties. Just for namesake, what I'll do, suppose if I think of any employee, okay, think of any employee, right? So any employee will have ID, right? Employee ID, then it should have name, then it should have a mobile number, okay, then it should have gender, then department or yeah, department, okay, then address. Okay, so generally when we are thinking about storing the details of any employee, so these details are mandatory, right? There's kind of many fields, but yeah, for an example, these we want to store the below details or these details of an employee. Okay, so what is the advantage of having, suppose what I can do, I can buy a notebook. In that notebook I will create one row and column and I can store the data there as well, right? Because if I 10 employees are working, so we will have employee 1, employee 2, employee 3 till employee 10, right? And we can store that those data in a notebook, correct? Same way, right? When you are doing something programmatically, when you're writing the programs, so there also you need to think like how can you manage the data. Okay, how the data you need to store or structure so that you can easily update or retrieve the values of it. Okay, so here something comes like when you are talking about Java, it is object oriented programming, right? Everything is object oriented. Okay, so what we can think of, what we can do, if I want to store the details of any employee, how what data structure or what we can do so that we can store it easily, right? Obviously you're thinking it correctly, you need to create a class. Okay, we know that a class contains properties, right? Properties and methods or actions, right? Means um, like suppose if I say dog is a class, right? Means if you create a dog as a dogs will have some properties like color, some what do you want, some breed, whatever it's there, it is, right? So, so there will some details, so there will be some properties of that dog, right? You can put that into a class, okay, and you can have some method like running, dog runs, right? Dog barks, like this thing, those type of action can be performed by dog, right? You can put those things in a class. Now if you have so many dogs, right, so what you have to do is simply create an object of dog and put the values. If you have 10 dogs, you need to create 10 objects of that dog class, right? So something you are using, you have some blueprint. Okay, using that blueprint you are storing the data, storing the information. when you're creating multiple objects and you're storing the data for that individual dog and all, so there's no overlapping. Means if you created dog 1 and dog 2, there's no way that data of dog 1 and dog 2 will be overwritten. No, right? Because we have separate entity, we have separate objects. Okay. Similarly here, to store the detail of any employee, we'll create one blueprint. Okay, and we know that blueprint is nothing but class. So what I want to do, I'll go here in the YouTube's the project where I am creating the programs. Okay, under the SRC test Java, I'll create another folder, another package. Okay, let me delete this one. Let me create a new package. I'll name it POJO examples. Okay, so recently I got one review like I'm not following the naming conventions and all. So yeah, this just for the example purpose I'm not following, but yeah, from now onwards I will follow all the Java conventions as well. Okay, what I'll do here, let me create one class called employee. Okay, employee. And what I'll do here, I will add those property which should be held by an employee, right? Means this kind of things. So what I'll do, ID will be int. Okay, then let me put public as of now, public int ID, right? Then we have public string name, public, what we have, string mobile number. Okay, then we have gender, right? So we can have public string gender. Okay, department might be integer, so public int department ID. Then address, so we can have public string address, right? So simply we have created one blueprint in which I can store the data of an employee. Okay, data of an employee. So what I can do, I will go here and suppose this is my company, the name should be something good, right? So let me put it retarget common company. Okay, I have started the company and I have started hiring the employees, right? So what I'll do, let me increase the font size, Ctrl++. So first employee I am hiring. Okay, so suppose first employee is Rahul. Okay, so I want to store the details of Rahul. So what I'll do, I'll create one object of employee class and I'll put Rahul. Okay, new employee. So what is Rahul? Rahul is the object name. Okay, once when you are creating an object of that employee, I given the name as Rahul. Okay, now I can store Rahul dot ID, right? I can put something 10, then Rahul dot department ID, suppose 100. Okay, Rahul dot address, suppose Karnataka. Okay, Rahul dot gender, suppose male. Okay, and Rahul dot mobile number. Okay, so some mobile number I am going to put it here. Okay, so simply we created one object of employee because one employee has joined my company and I have stored the data like this way. Now second employee is joining. So employee, suppose second employee name is Animes. Okay, new employee. Okay, now I am storing the details of Animes separately, right? It is not overriding with like if I use animes.id 20. So that doesn't mean that this animes, when I am setting the department ID for animes, it will go and override the value of Rahul. No, because this is different object, this is different object. That is the advantage of classes here. We've created a blueprint and we can get as many as object we want, and we can put the values for them, right? So let me copy it, everything here, let me paste it here. Okay, so instead of Rahul, I will change it with an image. Right? Okay, now let me put the ID as 20, department in 200, he stays in Delhi, then his mail and mobile number will be changed. Correct? Now if I want to print the if I want to retrieve the ID of Rahul, so what I need to do? Rahul dot ID, right? Sys out animage dot ID, right? So what we will get as an output? 10 and 20, right? Because we have two different objects and we are storing the values in two different entities, right? 10 and 20. Okay, if I have 100 employees or 1000 of employees, there is no problem. I can create an object and I can store the values. How it is, we are doing some reusable kind of thing, right? It's very simple thing. We have created one structure that we are following up. Okay, now similar kind of thing, like whatever we are doing here, we can have some better implementation here. Okay, so if you see here, like we are directly calling the properties, right? We are directly calling the properties and all, right? So what we can do, we can make it some little better. Little better means what I can do here, instead of making it public, okay, because in one employee there might be some fields which should not be public, which should be restricted, right? There might be salary or some feedback comment, those things should not be public, so that everyone should not be able to access that one. Okay, so what we can do here, in this class, let me go and let me clone this class. Okay, imply 2. So what I want to do here, I want to do some refactoring here. What I want to do, instead of defining this property as public, I will declare it as a private. Okay, private. Okay, okay, and so if this is these properties are private, so obviously we cannot use or access it outside of this class, right? That is the meaning when you declare any variable as private here. Okay, whenever you're declaring any variable as private, so that means you cannot use these properties outside of this class. Okay, so if you want to provide some ways, like so that outside world it can be, this property can be accessed, and this property can be means if you want to set the values from outside, or if you want to retrieve the values outside, right, then you need to provide some mechanism. Okay, that mechanism is called providing setter and getters. Okay, so what you can do means, you need to provide, like for ID, this is a private, obviously we know that we cannot access it outside. So what I need to do, I need to provide one method, okay, setter kind of thing, which will go and set the value. Okay, and to retrieve the value, we need to provide one get method, okay, which will retrieve me the value of get. Similar thing for all. Okay, so generally that is termed as getter and setter methods. Okay, by the name you can understand, getter means to get the value of a private property, setter means to set the value of a private property. Okay, so here there is no need to go and write any methods for it. What you need to do in IntelliJ or Eclipse, there are direct ways to generate those getter and setter method. What you need to do, right click on this one, then go to source, then we have generate getter and setters. Okay, click on that. select for whatever fields you want to do. Okay, you want there's might be requirement that you don't want to put the setter and getter for all the methods. Okay, those might be for some internal calculation. Okay, so you can keep it. There's no there's nothing mandatory that you want to put. If you're declaring any field as private, you must need to provide getter and setter method. No, that is not the rule. That completely depends upon your requirement. Okay, I want to put the getter and setters for all, so select all. Okay, then click on generate. Okay, now you can see here it has one set id. Okay, and similarly you should have one get id also, right? Okay, sorry, here it is. Okay, get id and set id. Okay, so there's some pattern here to provide a getter and setter, because this pattern is really useful when you deserialize or serialize it. So that those things we'll see later. But yeah, if you don't want, you can have some custom names also, like you can put some different name. There's no problem in that, but those will not support some feature which we are going to learn in upcoming videos. Okay, so if you want to provide the setter and getter measure, so you need to provide in this way. Okay, when you type it, so it might you might make some mistakes. So you what you need to do, you need to use the IDE shortcuts. Okay, like whatever I used. Okay, now this is much better than this one, whatever we have earlier. Now I will clone this one also, the target common company class, and here what I'm going to do here, we create one object employee 2. Okay, now instead of calling the property directly, right, now we cannot call the property because this id and all are private, right? So what I need to do, Rahul dot set id. Okay, more meaningful, more convenient to use. Okay, like this one. Okay, instead of directly accessing the property, we are accessing using the some set and getter method, like set department id. Okay, similarly here set address. Okay, set gender. And set mobile number. Similarly you need to do for second one, right? So employee 2, new employee 2, right? And here you do copy this again to do it little faster. Okay, 20 200 Delhi mail and some number, right? So we have used the setter method to create two objects and storing the value. Now if I want to retrieve the id of Rahul, so you need to use get id. Okay, and similarly for any mess I can use the get id. Here you can fetch any value of it. Okay, if you run it, you will going to get the similar result. Okay, 10 and 20. So whatever we are seeing in the second means employee 2 class, that is termed as POJO. Okay, POJO stands for plain old Java object. Okay, plain old Java object. So we know Java object. What is Java objects? If you create an object of employee here, right? Rahul or Anvil, those are Java objects, right? So what is like plain object? Plain object, plain old Java object, right? So if you see and if you go through so many blogs on Google, or if you see some YouTube videos, so they are like they come up with some rules, right? Like you need to declare something, all the variables as private, then you need to put the get and set time. So no, I don't think those are the some rules where you can go and create the POJO and all. Okay, you can have some public also. You can have um, some fields like whatever you want. You can do it. There's no rule that you need to do like that way. Okay, but if you are if you create a class like this one, this will really help you to easily create an object of it, and you can easily set and get the values. Okay, and these are also useful when you do serialization and deserialization. Okay, so if you see, if you uh, go to Wikipedia of plain old Java object. Okay, so here you can see is is an ordinary Java object. Okay, plain POJO nothing like special kind of thing. Here also we create an object. Okay, so it's simple. Is an ordinary Java object not bound by any special restriction. Okay, means simple, plain. There's no restriction like it should go and inherit some classes. Sorry, it should extend any classes or implement some interface, or it should have some annotation. No, those things are not mandatory. Those things are not needed at all. This is like simple, plain. Okay, and this term was actually coined or called by Martin Fowler. Okay, and if you see this line should clear your doubt. Like we wondered why people were so against using regular objects in their system, and concluded that it was because simple objects lacked a fancy name, so we gave them one, and it's caught on very nice. So it was coming from that type POJO. Okay, so if you go to any programming language, you can find a similar kind of things, and they also have the similar pattern. In JavaScript we have, in Ruby we have. Okay, so like that. So if you see in many places, you will find some definition of POJO, like a POJO class is something which should not extend. Okay, it should not extend a pre-specified class. Okay, or it should not implement any interface, predefined pre-specified interface, or it should not have some pre-specified annotations. So personally I don't know like what is the meaning of this, because when I will continue in upcoming videos, I will show you that how can I use the inheritance, okay, to create a better POJOs. Okay, and also like we need to use annotations. When I will explain the project Lombok, there I will show you that why we need to use some annotations. So I really don't know like why these rules are coming up from, and why these type of restrictions. But you can see here in the beginning, like not bound by any special restrictions. Okay, a POJO class is something which doesn't have any restriction except some Java rules like Java naming conventions and all. Okay, Java pattern they need to follow. And here also in this Wikipedia you can find that it is directly mentioning that a POJO should not have to, okay, not mandatory that it should not extend any class. Okay, or it should not implement any interface, or what do you call that, annotations. That is not mandatory. And also there is no such rules like you need to declare all the variables as private, then put the get and setters. No, this is the way you create it. This is the way you create it so that you can use it. Okay, in the next video I will show you that how you can use the POJO classes to create a payload, and you can send to your APIs. Okay, so that is the actual concept. Okay, this is going these are what do you call it, um, this is the way we can store the data, we can structure our data. Okay, so I hope this POJO classes, at least you got the concept, and the implementation you say we'll see in the next video. Okay, so if you in interview or if you want to explain POJO to someone, you simply say POJO is again a normal Java class, okay, which should not have any restrictions, okay, and it is a way like how well you are structuring your data, okay, like for an employee I created some private variables, okay, and I provide the getter setter method so that anyone can easily use it, okay. So that is the way of that is the better way of creating a class, and so that we can use it in further process, okay, and that class you can term it as a POJO, okay. There's nothing fancy word, there's nothing like we have something special set of rules and all. No, this is the way how you create the class, okay, and there are many things which supports this kind of thing, this pattern this supported, right. When I will show that when we want to convert an API response to a POJO class, so that time you see, because they have something like, okay, if you have like getter and setter method, okay, deserialize it or serialize it, so those things we'll see later, but as of now this is the concept, and that's it for this video, okay. So if you have any doubt, please comment or send out a mail to me, okay, and I will try to solve them, okay. So thank you everyone.